Hey Nick, how you doing?
Hey, good. How are you, Ryan?
I'm doing well. I'm excited to show you some of the tools and bells and whistles with JobQuest here, which I know you were asking about for some of your clients.
Yeah, exactly. I'm excited too. Thanks for taking some time to walk me through this.
Yeah, happy to. So I'm going to just give you a little demo using my own JobQuest account, and I'm going to run through four tools, and we can talk about some of the other things that JobQuest does, but we're going to talk about Autofix, Supercharge, Compose, and then AI Customize. So these are kind of fun little things that you can do with JobQuest. Does this sound good?
Yeah, that sounds good. I mean, maybe it's worthwhile to take 10 seconds to kind of set the stage that this tool is basically for people who are in a very active job search process or even an inactive one, I suppose, and they want to make sure that the resume that they're sending in for a particular opportunity is as well customized as it can be to that particular opportunity. And your tool uses AI to both analyze the requirements of the job description and analyze the resume and then recommends very concrete changes that would bring the two into better alignment. So that's what we're here to kind of see in real time. I know a lot of people are very curious about how these tools work and how they should use them to make their job search more successful and more efficient. So this is great.
Yeah. Thanks for that intro. And that's exactly right. So one thing to keep in mind is that JobQuest optimizes for two sets of eyeballs, as it were. One is a real set of eyeballs, and one is that of a machine. So you've got, on the one hand, the human reviewer, any human being who's going to read your resume needs to see that this looks like a good match for the job. Then you have the machines that are going to read many resumes, and those are called ATS or automated tracking systems. And if you've ever applied for a job and gotten one of those form responses that saying you're not a good fit within a few hours, it probably got rejected by an ATS. So JobQuest will optimize for both of those audiences, as it were, and we can talk about that. But so what you'll see here is that I've got a bunch of job matches. So on the left, we have job matches. Then there's jobs that I've imported and resumes that I've imported as well. And so how JobQuest works is we're not going to do this, but when you want to apply to a job, you're just going to copy paste the job description into JobQuest, and then you're going to upload your resume, and then you can create a match. You can match a particular resume with a particular job description, and then JobQuest does this thing where it gives you a score. Now, the higher the score is, the better it is for both humans and machines. So you'll see that I've got a few job matches here. Some of them have better scores than others. You'll see at the top of 73, which is blue, so that's a pretty good score. Anything over 75 is very good. See, I've got a 90, and then another 70, and then a couple below 50, which are not so good. And you'll also notice in the middle that a couple of these have already been AI customized. So in that case, we can't AI customize them anymore, so we're not going to choose one of those. So I'm just going to choose this one that's actually already a pretty good score. It's a 73. This is for Reason Foundation's Audience Development Manager. So let's go ahead and jump into this one. Okay, so you're going to see right away that we've got three tabs. Score, and that's where you're going to find out about the 73 and what that means. Then we have a job x-ray and my resume, and we're going to do most of our work in the resume. But just to give you a quick overview here, so we've got the job match score here, and you'll see that breaks down as pretty good for years of experience. I've got a 75% match there. Responsibility is not bad, 64% match, but the two lower scores are because of particular skills listed on the job description that don't match on my resume, and a job title match, which I only have a 50% score of. So like if I open up this one, you'll see that my most recent job title indicates writer. This position is looking for a marketing title. And then manager level, most recent job title indicates senior level. So that's good. But because I only have one out of two matches here, that gives me a 50%. So that's the type of thing that the ATS is going to look at, but potentially also a human being is going to be like, well, this is a marketing position. Can this person actually do marketing? So just to give you a
Got
sense
it.
of how that works.
So the tool
Yeah.
the tool is analyzing both, comparing them intelligently. It can separate out the what's a skill, what's a title, et cetera, and tell you where your current resume might need some attention.
Yeah, exactly. And the same thing for skills, check mark for digital marketing, and an X for paid advertising, and et cetera. You'll see we can do AI customize from here. We're not going to do that just yet because I want to show you a couple tools But if we go to the job X-ray tab for a minute, you'll see just a breakdown of this job. So I just copy pasted the job description into JobQuest, and it created this whole page about what are the years of experience required, what are the particular responsibilities, the skills, and then just a snapshot of where the job is, it's full-time hybrid, what the salary is, et cetera. So that's just kind of a nice breakdown of the job, but this is what JobQuest is using to create this match.
Yeah, that's super helpful. I mean, a lot of job descriptions are fairly lengthy and can be kind of wordy. A lot of stuff that you might be interested to know, but maybe isn't directly relevant to whether you're a good fit or how you might position yourself well for the job. And having this laid out so clearly lets you kind of say, okay, I really understand now what this job is actually about. You may do the X-ray, correct me if I'm wrong, and still then decide, actually, maybe I'm not a good fit. Like you might just read it and say, this isn't actually me, and decide not to apply. So the X-ray in and of itself is kind of a good thing to have.
Yeah, right. And maybe, we're going to get into AI tools, and that's kind of really what JobQuest can do to make your life easier. But maybe you're going to say, I just want to use this X-ray to manually edit my resume, and you can do that too. So let's jump into the resume where we're going to use these tools. Here you will see my resume. So you'll see there's and this is just a template version. When we get into editing, you'll see that we can see what it would actually look like when we print it. But you'll see, work experience, education, skills, and summary, and a hero message, just your basic information. So let's go ahead
and just to be clear, that before you go, so this. When you initially sent this, uploaded this version of your resume, you probably gave it a document, a PDF or a Word doc or something, and it created this kind of like sectioned templated version. So just to be clear that you don't have to use the tool to write the resume, you can just upload the one that you have.
Yeah, exactly, and it just populates this template here. So we'll go into edit and we'll start using some of these tools. I'm going to confirm. Okay, so you'll see we've got edit, which is where we're going to be. There's also sections. We can jump into this in a minute, and here you can start to see what the resume looks like in its final form, and then you can choose different templates, and we'll get to those. But to begin with, let's just go to a fun tool called Autofix. So I'm going to actually take my products account experience here and click edit. All right, so you'll see that I've got the basic information, but what I want to auto-fix here is my bullet points that describe the experiences and the skills particular to the job that I developed at Products Account. So Autofix does 3 different versions. So the first time I click it, we're going to get a boring version of my bullet points. Then if I click it again, we're going to get something called number, which is going to put lots of stats and numbers in. And then if I click it one more time, we're going to get a fun version. So let's just start with the boring version. So just to briefly scan, you'll see that I've got some numbers in here already, right? I wrote a newsletter for 50,000 subscribers. I doubled the readership. Analytics tools, click-throughs, end-to-end content for annual product awards, driving 3x growth. Worked on a top 2% podcast. Named some companies that I work with, etc. Right? So let's see what Autofix does for a boring revision of this. All right, it looks fairly similar to what I already had. So apparently I wrote it kind of boring to begin with, which I think is okay for my approach to a resume. But right, it didn't even change the third bullet point. Produce end-to-end content for annual product awards, driving 3x growth. It changed 2 words. So let's do it again and see what happens when it does the number version. All right, so you'll see instead of doubling readership, it actually says increasing readership by 25,000. Put in improving engagement by 15% into the second bullet point. Instead of 3x growth, 300% participation. Top 2% podcast by 30 episodes annually. Okay, right. So instead of just increased content production, it's giving a number on the episodes. So that's the type of thing that it's going to do, resulting in 5 new collaborations. So it's really just put specifics and numbers into each one of these bullet points, which as a human being who this is actually my resume, I need to go through this and make sure that it reflects the reality of what I did there, but I think this is a nice guideline for, oh, hey, I could actually be a little bit more specific with my bullet
Right. So
points.
so it's basically suggesting areas where you could use some kind of a metric or some numerical quantity to support the particular bullet point. But again, you mentioned it, but important to emphasize that it doesn't know how many podcast episodes you did or how much you increased weekly newsletter subscription. It might put a number in there, but it's more to invite you to put whatever the accurate number or metric actually is. So that would be a step you would have to take.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And so it's a good start. But as always, we need to be the arbiters of the final version here. So let's click
Right.
Autofix once again, and we'll get the fun version.
Smashed out a weekly newsletter.
Right.
Does
Yeeted
it have
data.
yeeted data? Okay.
Yeah. Dragged the brand style guide and rebranded. So it's funny. They just there's a bunch of funny verbs basically.
Yeah.
Glowed up our content production. Use this as you will, but you've got three. Basically, what's nice is we've got three very different versions of the original bullets that I created, and and you can decide how you want to use these. But that's Autofix.
Yeah, and once again, I mean, yeah, use the yeeted up and glowed up references with caution, I would say.
Yeah.
But that said, the version is an invitation for you to bring something more energetic, more dynamic to the way you're describing things. So even if you don't use all of these, Gen Z isms, which maybe you shouldn't, you could bring in something of your own that's a little bit less than the boring version that you started with.
Yes, and Nick, as the career coach, feel free to counsel me here. If you want to say, don't do that, or do more of that.
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. So that's Autofix. So let's actually try Supercharge now. I'm just going to cancel this, and let's go try another area of experience. So this is my teaching experience at John Jay College. We'll edit this, and I've only got 4 bullet points here about courses that I taught, collaboration with colleagues, the number of courses, some bits about my research and my teaching. So let me just supercharge and see what this comes up with. And let me set this up by saying that the supercharge function works with AI agents, and specifically it works with 2 agents. So there's a recruiter agent, and then there's a job seeker agent, and they talk to each other. So the recruiter is basically going to be asking questions about these experiences I've got listed here. And the job seeker agent is going to be answering those questions. And so we'll see what they come up with as a result. Here we go. All right, so it's written quite a bit more, I can see right off the bat, but instead of something like cross-functional collaboration with interdisciplinary colleagues in 20 plus courses, we've got orchestrated cross-functional collaboration. So I'm much more active now with interdisciplinary colleagues across 20 plus courses, crafting a robust sustainability curriculum that merges environmental science, sociology, and public policy. It's not really true. Yielding actionable insights for local policymakers via community-based research, pioneer project-based learning and interdisciplinary studies courses. Some of that is true. Executed a comprehensive research project, Rhythms of Resistance, the Evolution of Trinidadian Music and Cultural Identity, publishing findings in peer-reviewed journals, conference presentations. Yeah, some of this is definitely true, and I think I could go through and edit, to better highlight things that I actually did. But what do you think about this one, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm curious as to how much of what it's added to the bullets in terms of specificity around, the project name and things like that is made up by it or in the agent interaction approach that you described. Is it coming up with some facts from some other source? Where is it getting this information is my question, and that would determine what to do with it, I guess.
Right. It's mostly making it up. So, but like some of it's kind of close. Like I could just change the name of the research project to a research project I actually did, and then reword things a little bit, and then I think it could actually be good.
Yeah, one of the things about, I mean, this tool, but also working with AI in other contexts too, is sometimes it brings you back something that has the spirit and the sound of what you want to be able to say. but maybe in a way that is not factually accurate, but it brings you to a place where you can bring your own experience and your own facts and information into that same spirit and sound. And for that reason alone, it can be something that really helps to, you know, build momentum in terms of creating a resume that really puts your unique qualifications front and center.
Okay, so I'm just going to cancel this one, and then we got two more tools. So let's just quickly go into. I'm actually not going to do the compose because that's going to take too long. But let me just show you how it works. So if I just said, with products account, I don't actually like these bullet points. I don't know. I'm just not happy with them, and I need to start fresh. So I'm just going to delete everything, and now you see this compose button pops up. So here I can click compose, and then I need to give it information. So AI will write 6 resume bullet points based on your answers. Answer freely in any format. Phrases, fragments, and even scribbles are perfectly fine. So basically, I just need to fill in these 3 boxes. Detail what my job position was, then put in what my skills were and what tools I used, and then I'll just write about the responsibilities that I had there, and then this AI is just going to do this work for me. So if you don't know where to begin with your bullet points, or you don't like your bullet points, this might be a good option. All right. So the next thing is, I'm going to cancel this as well. The next thing is AI customized. So as you recall, my score was pretty good. It's a 73. It says score 75 plus is recommended for a job application. So you know what? I want to get it up above 75. So let's click AI customize. And I got to select some keywords here: digital marketing, content marketing, copywriting, communications, time management. Yeah, sure. I'll click time management. Data analytics. Yeah. Audience growth. Yes. Let's do that. It's estimated to take a minute or 2. Okay, so now I have an 83 match. Interesting, my job title match went down, although I have better scores on responsibilities and skills. So, I'd obviously have to go through and now actually look at my resume and make sure that it actually works. But let's see, it changed the hero message a bit. So it now put digital marketing strategist into the hero message. That wasn't there before. It just said copywriter and podcast producer. So you'll see it changed the hero message quite a bit. And then,
Right.
we would have to go through and just make sure the professional summary looks good. Scanning over it here, it looks not bad. So, but then I could go through each one of these and tailor it some more.
So what you just did, which
Yeah.
was different from the section by section editing, was you basically just handed the keys to AI, essentially said, like, what would you change here in order to make this better? And then as a second step, you could then go back into the sections and do the editing if you needed to correct anything, or just make some changes.
Yeah, exactly. And, if you want to then change the way your resume looks, again, if we go to the sections, so this is what I've got now. You'll see the hero message is kind of long. I might actually want to make that shorter. Professional summary, skills, work experience. It's going into 2 pages. So I think I would need to do some editing here. I like to have a 1-page resume, just my personal approach. And then you'll see if I want to change up the sections, like maybe I want to add projects. I can do that, and then I can go in and edit that section. I can also add custom sections, and it's really easy to mix and match. If I want to put my work experience above my skills, I can do that there just by easily dragging and dropping.
Right.
And we can also do columns instead of a more vertical layout. So yeah, that is pretty much it, and we're right at about time. So Nick, let me just turn it over to you and ask you for your thoughts.
I just want to, before we leave this page, I want to point out that it looks like what you have is already a bunch of different templates that you could use to accommodate the content that you created, either through making your own edits or leveraging the AI tools. And it looks like there's an ATS score for each of these templates that is essentially rating, I'm assuming, how well the necessary information is going to be read by the machines that are likely doing some of the initial screening of what you're submitting. So that's a very cool thing. I mean, I think, this has been a great walkthrough. I love the fact that the tool gives you a lot of different options for both creating your resume, analyzing your resume, but also even analyzing a job that you might be interested in. The scoring is helpful because, we have a lot of people out there saying, I'm applying indiscriminately to hundreds of jobs and I'm not hearing anything, or I'm getting rejected automatically. It's probably because the resume you're putting in there is not a good fit. And so you're getting kicked out. If there's nothing that you can really honestly do to make your resume a better fit, then it's probably not a good idea to go ahead and apply to all those jobs. So in this way, the tool, I think, helps to make the whole process feel a little bit more manageable, which is something that a lot of people are looking for. And it'll say to you, I think we saw that as part of the walkthrough, they'll say, this may not be a good job for you. Like your job match score is so low that you should reconsider whether this is something you want to spend your time on. And that's pretty good advice. Obviously, you can disregard it and go ahead and apply anyway. So yeah, I think it's great to see how the tool really works in action. In today's job market, it's super essential to have this kind of flexibility and to be agile. Even just changing the words around to still reflect your actual experience so that the person or the machine on the other side can really see what you're about and how you're a good fit is super useful. And I want to point out and say thank you to you and the JobQuest folks that you've offered my coaching clients a year's worth of a membership to the premium level of JobQuest. So that's very kind of you. And I know a couple of them are already using it to great effect. So this has been great. I really appreciate your time, and I think people really value this walkthrough.
Awesome. Thank you, Nick. And I'm very excited to hear your folks are getting some good value out of the tool. I know as a job seeker myself, I find it super helpful. Like you said, it takes a lot of the stress out. There's so many pieces to the job search, the job quest, as it were, that just having a little bit more assistance in the nuts and bolts of the resume piece is very helpful. And it's just like one less piece to stress about so much.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
All right.
Great.
Thank you, Nick. Take care.
All right. See you.